Welcome to the Pub Sports Radio MLB Closing Time Show, Friday, August the 20th. Ian Cameron, Conor Mack, we are ready for this Friday MLB card as the dog days of summer and the baseball season, for that matter, continue. And what a day yesterday. Crazy results, crazy collapses, comebacks, whatever you want to call it. Detroit blowing it against the Angels the way they did. Hideous beat if you had Detroit for the full game. How about the Seattle Mariners, who actually did prevail in that game? But blew it in the ninth inning. Texas tied it, and then Seattle's got to rescue themselves in extra innings. A sweat and a half, if you indeed like the Seattle Mariners in that game. And then, of course, we had Houston and Kansas City. Kansas City's leading most of that game. And then the Astros tie it. And then even if you have Kansas City plus a run and a half, they blow it in extra innings. Houston wins 6-3. I mean, it was just a crazy day of bad beats, crazy endings, crazy comebacks, collapses, you name it. Just a wild day yesterday. We'll see what Friday has in store for us. We do have one game that already started, Royals and Cubs. The Royals are ahead in that one. Let's go to the rest of the card for tonight. We'll start with Atlanta and Baltimore. A little interleague action here. Max Fried, Keegan Aiken, battle of lefties here. Atlanta minus 230 is what we're looking at, with the Braves as road chalk at Camden Yards. 10 the total in this game. I'm not even going to overthink it. For me, I'll go the run line. I even laid it a little bit more than I normally do. I got it at minus 150. I'm going to go with that for the Braves tonight, minus a run and a half. They're just red hot. The lineup's just on fire at the moment. You talk about a team that's not only hitting, but getting good at bats. They're drawing a shit ton of walks. Just ask the last few games in that Miami series. They just very, very patient at the plate. And you're seeing that up and down the lineup. It's one good at bat after another from this Braves team. It's probably bad news for Keegan Aiken. We know this guy's been brutal. We've talked about him multiple times on this show as of late. He's given up 8-5, 6-4, 6-6-3. Actually, his last start against Boston was his best start, but still, he only went 4 innings, 3 runs, 6 hits. Not like he was that much better. He was marginally better, but he still wasn't that great. The Braves should be able to get some runs against him and this bad Baltimore bullpen. Braves, by the way, 258 batting average and 7.8 runs per game the last 10 against lefties. So they should do significant damage. The flip side, you've got Max Fried on the mound for the Atlanta Braves, who's pitched relatively well most of the second half of the year. The one concern, though, is the Baltimore Orioles do hit the lefties a little bit better. That's been their basically their profile this year, is they do hit lefties a little bit better than they do righties. I think that can continue. I'm on a bunch of things here in this game. Not only the run line with Atlanta, but I took their team total over. I got a 5.5 at minus 140 a few hours ago. It's 5.5s at some spots, 6.5s with a plus price at others. So make sure you shop around. But I got the 5.5. I laid a little juice with that on the Atlanta team total, and full game over 10. That's probably the one I don't feel as confident in, or I don't like that one as much as the Atlanta bets, the run line and the team total. But I do think this game can go over 10 runs, because I do think Baltimore can score a little bit. They do hit lefties, and they could be able to put some runs on the board themselves. So that's what we're looking at here. Braves, run line, team total, and the full game over. Conor, what do you like here, Braves and Orioles?
Yeah, the Orioles, it's tough. I'm sure they're glad to get home. I got to give a live shout out. Dono here from our guy, Kevin de Freitas. Fritas. He needs me to know what it is. Fritas or Fretas? Anyways, thanks for everything, man. We appreciate your dono. Everyone in the chat, thanks for being here. Hit the thumbs up. We appreciate it. Hit share, all that good shit. Retweet, all that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, Braves are huge favorites. Orioles, 15 straight losses or 2 or more. So it's an automatic run line, right? I think the Orioles are at some point going to win a game. But tonight going to be it with Max Fried, who's pitching better. And I don't think Keegan Aiken might be the guy to break the streak. I think it might be Means or another pitcher for them, maybe Matt Harvey, because every time he gets on the mound, it's rough. Like you said, for him, 4 innings with 3 runs in that last start in Boston. That's sliding by.
That's what qualifies for a good start for him. Can you believe that?
Yeah, you can't get to 6 because you can go 6 and give up 3. It's quality start considered, but his is 4. If you can go 4 innings, and that won't ever get him a win because you got to go 5, obviously. But yeah, Braves now, like you said, you could take a 5.5 team total, a lot of juice to it, 6.5 in most spots. So it'd be Braves or pass here.
Yeah, I'm with you. Absolutely. I mean, the Orioles have not only lost a bunch of games in a row, but all by margin. I mean, just they've been losing by multiple runs. The run line has just cashed in start after start, game after game against this Orioles team. No problems going with the run line tonight against them once more. Next up, we've got Minnesota, New York Yankees. Charlie Barnes, Nestor Cortez, the pitching matchup. We've got the Yankees here, massive chalk in that minus two. Looks like minus 220 range right now. Total 10 and a half in this game. Charlie Barnes, I don't know. He would pitch better last start. I was shocked by it. But really, I think it says more about what the opposing lineup couldn't do against Charlie Barnes, that being the Tampa Bay Rays. How does he fare here? Nestor Cortez has been pretty good, actually, for the most part, since he's been in this starting rotation. Team total for the Yankees is 5.5. I'd lean that way. I wouldn't touch the run line because I'll say this: the Twins are scrappy. They kept on coming back and chipping away last night against the Yankees, who are red hot, who have passed Boston, who are now in the number 1 wild card spot in the American League with this torrid run, which is, I believe, now 24-8 are the New York Yankees in their last 32 games. So they've been absolutely outstanding of late. I'm not going against them, but Minnesota's feisty. It's even last night. They make things interesting a little bit late in that game. If I were to bet anything here, it would be the Yankees team total. I don't worry if the Yankees win. I don't worry about whether they win by margin. I just focus on the fact, can they score 6 runs? I'm not buying Charlie Barnes after that last start. I got to see him pitch better again because his numbers before that were pretty bad. Yankee team total over, if anything. Yankee team total or over or pass for me in this game. Connor, what do you think here, Twins and Yankees?
Yeah, I think you look at this. Cortez has pitched well for the Yankees. Now they're red hot. You got to back him, minus 220 here. I lean a little bit over. You're right. I don't think Barnes. This is a guy who had a 5 ERA in AAA. Going through all his numbers all year, but he gave up 5 innings, 1 run against Tampa his last start. I don't think that happens again. Man, I got out of there with a push with the first 5. I thought Gant was doing well there, and I just was like, don't give that 1 inning, and then blow up. But I got out of there with a push here. I don't love it. The team total, Yankees are hitting lately, and maybe that's what it took. A lot of their team totals, if you were on their under, you were cashing, not on their over. And the over 5.5 is minus 140. I don't like taking run lines with a home team, but I lean that way with the Yankees. You can get it minus 120, minus 125. But that's my lean here. Maybe an over, maybe a full game over 10. Twins have been swinging it a little bit better. Can they hit off Cortez? Who knows? He's been pretty good. He won't go long, but he's given you 5 innings about and 1 run in each of his starts. So he's been pretty good.
All right, next game here, Detroit Tigers, Toronto Blue Jays. The Blue Jays were ripping and roaring at the Rogers Center in their return. Excited, everybody looking forward to the Blue Jays getting back in the mix, and then they had a pretty bad road trip, which ended in an absolute disaster in Washington. So now they're all of a sudden back to where they started and needing to go on a run again if they want to keep stay alive here in the wild card race. Robbie Ray on the mound for the Jays, Tyler Alexander for Detroit, battle of lefties. Toronto minus 270, home favorites, 9.5 the total in this game. What do we get from Robbie Ray? He's been very good most of the year for this Blue Jays team. The one thing about Detroit, we've talked about this. Detroit's been one of our favorite teams to talk about because they've cashed for us so many times. But they've been just murdering left-handed pitching. They really have. I mean, look what they did to poor Jose Quintana. Now, look, Robbie Ray's a little higher quality lefty than Jose Quintana of the Angels yesterday. But nevertheless, I mean, the Orioles have been mashing lefties. Or sorry, not the Orioles. The Tigers have been the Orioles have been mashing lefties too, but the Tigers they've been mashing lefties, especially. Yeah. I mean, 414 average, 13 runs per game against lefties in the last 10 for the year, 5.3 runs per game against lefties, 260. Now, the one concern is they got a couple of injuries that are, accumulating here in their lineup. Akil Baddoo questionable. Eric Haas, who's had a great season for the Tigers, is out with a back injury. Nico Goodrum's out with a groin injury. So, all of a sudden they're starting to add up some injuries here on this in this lineup for Detroit. But their numbers against lefties are pretty good. I like Robbie Ray a lot. I'm just a little bit concerned about the Tigers here and their proficiency to hit left-handed pitching. So I'll tell you what, I'm not laying minus 270 here with Toronto. Now, granted, they've been great at home. I believe they're 9-2, Connor, 9-2 at the Rogers Center in the games that they've played here since returning to Toronto. So they've been a force here at home, but I'm not laying this price. Tyler Alexander is on the mound for the Tigers. We'll see how he fares here against this Blue Jays lineup. Blue Jays, their lineup should be able to do some damage. It's another situation where against lefties, they fared well. 315, 7.8 runs per game just in the last 10 games against lefties. 5.7 runs per game on the year against left-handed pitching for the Blue Jays. So I think both teams can hit. I like Ray, but again, Detroit's hit every single every single lefty they've faced lately. Even some good ones, they've managed to score some runs. So I think the over 9.5 could get there in this game. Normally, I would not look that way in a game involving Robbie Ray, who's been very good, 2.88 ERA. But, the Tigers have hit every lefty in sight. And obviously, the Jays have been pretty damn good against lefties as well. So, and bullpen issues for both teams. We saw what Detroit's bullpen did yesterday against the Angels. Disastrous. The Blue Jays bullpen shit the bed in both games against Washington. So when I look at it here, this game might have some runs in it. That's the way I would look. Stay off the side. I don't trust Detroit to beat Toronto in this building where the Blue Jays have been so good, but I'm not laying this price with the Jays, so it's the over for me. Connor, what do you think here? Tigers, Jays.
I was looking at that as well. The Tigers you talked about the injuries might be creeping up on them, and they have a few left-handed bats that are better on their, like Grossman. So even though they hit lefties okay, Cabrera's been stressing, I think, wanting to get to 500. And the bullpen's been bad, but maybe, Tigers team total over 3.5 or first 5 over 1.5. You could look there. Blue Jays, they come back home, and I know Robbie Ray's on the mound. He's been really good all year long at just minus 260. No frickin' way. They better get going. I mean, they need to win all these games at home here. But to lay this kind of number after the team, what I just watched, getting smacked around by a Nationals team that's just ho-hum, that sold off its roster, I don't love it. I think there's value with the Tigers in this game. I don't know if you want to go full game with their bullpen. They'd have to get to Ray, maybe a first 5 look. But I'm with you. I'm going to get involved somehow. I just haven't decided if I want to take a big number with the Tigers, take them a half run first 5, their team total. And I kind of like the full game because I think Alexander, he's okay. He's a 4 or 5 inning guy. But is he a 4 or 5 inning guy that, or right around there, that gives you 1 or 2 runs up? Or does he give you up 4 or 5? And we'll see with the Jays lineup if they can get it done. So this is an interesting one for me.
Not so interesting as this next game because I have no interest in it from a betting standpoint. Texas and Boston. We have Dane Dunning on the mound for the Rangers. We have Chris Sale on the mound for the Red Sox. His second start back from his almost 2-year absence coming off Tommy John. We'll see how he fares here in this game. We've got Boston, just extraordinary favorite here. Minus 300 is what we're looking at here with the Red Sox at Fenway. 9 is the total. Pretty much across the board in this game. I just want no part of it. Like, this is a get-well game in theory. This is a get-well series in theory for Boston. If they're going to figure this shit out and turn things back around after getting swept by the Yankees this week, this is the opponent to do it. And the one thing they showed against Baltimore last weekend, they can beat up bad teams at home. They did that last weekend against the Orioles. This is in theory a spot where they should be able to take care of business against Texas, but I'm not laying anything close to minus 300 with this Boston team right now. Not with the way they're trending. Sale was very good, in his first start back. We were concerned, long time without pitching, 2 full years. Makes his first start again, albeit Baltimore, but 2 runs, 5 innings, 8 strikeouts. The strikeouts were there. He did give up a couple home runs though. So that's the one thing you worry about. What I don't worry about though is Texas being efficient against lefty pitching. That's never been a thing for them this year, being able to hit lefties. And now when he's on his game, they're facing one of the better ones here in Chris Sale. Dunning on the mound for the Texas Rangers. Say this about Dunning. 7 starts in a row of 3 runs or less. And in 6 of those last 7 starts, he's given up 2 runs or less. So he's actually been in very good form for the last several games. And Texas is 6-1 in his last 7 starts. Now, the problem is on the road, and we've talked about this before with Dane Dunning, it's been ugly. And it continues to be 6.45 ERA. And the Rangers are just 1-8 in his 9 road starts this year. And they've been outscored, it looks like, by almost a run per game on the road with Dunning on the mound. So it's just all kinds of back and forths here. Boston's not in the form I want to lay this price with. They should shut down this Texas team. If they're going to bounce back, it should be here at home against a bad Rangers team and a bad bullpen, too, for Texas. But on the flip side, somehow, some way, the Rangers are actually 6-1 in Dunning's last 7 starts. And, that kind of track record makes you think maybe I should sprinkle a couple bucks maybe on Texas, at least in the first 5. But for me, it's just no need to force anything. Stay off the game. I don't want Texas, and I sure don't trust the slumping Red Sox at this price. Connor, what do you think here, Texas and Boston?
Yeah, for a team that's really sliding, minus 300. Huge here. Damn Dane Dunning. I just can't figure him out. He pitches all right, but he gets rocked on the road. With Sale back, I think he'll pitch well. I lean the first 5 under 5. I think it's really on Dunning. If he can just give up a couple runs, I'm worried the Red Sox will bust out. So that was my lean I had down in this one. We'll see. Sale's second start, all he gave up was a couple solo home runs to Hayes and Mancini. But other than that, he looked pretty good. I looked at the Red Sox team total. It's all right. It's over 5.5. It's minus 115. Can they get going? Who knows? Dunning's he's the factor here. I don't know if he'll give up 4 or 5 or he can give up 1 or 2 on the road because he's just, at home he's been better. At home he's able to go 5 and give up 2 runs. But on the road he gives up 4 or 5. He gave up 7 to the Angels, but that was a while ago. So, yeah, this one's interesting to me. But I lean the first 5 under a bit and maybe the Sox, their team total.
All right, we've got the Angels in Cleveland next up. It is Jaime Barria for the Angels and Sam Hentges for the Cleveland Guardians. Next year they will be. I'm trying to prepare so that I can eradicate the Indians word from my vocabulary because we got to start getting used to that. It is Angels in Cleveland. Cleveland minus 110, minus 115 home favorites. 9.5 the total here across the board. Jaime Barria on the mound for the Angels. He came into the Barria, by the way, looking to maybe bet against him, but he's actually been better than I thought he would be for this Angels rotation since he's joined it. A little bit better, at least. Kind of been trending downward a bit the last couple, but we'll see how he goes here against this Cleveland lineup. 8-7 loss for them yesterday against Minnesota. On the other side, it's Hentges for Cleveland. 7.95 ERA in his last 3 starts, and overall, just been a really, really rough go for him. And the Angels have actually done a pretty good job throughout the course of the year and lately as well against lefties. Last 10 games, a 258 batting average, 31 points higher than their team average against righties, and a 6.6 runs per game average for this Angels team. So it's not a game I have a strong opinion on, but I'm not ready to lay anything with Hentges and this Cleveland team. I don't know if I want to take the Angels money line, not fully knowing what we're going to get out of Barria. But what I do think we'll see is the Angels hit Hentges because they have hit lefties well the last 10 games. So if anything, I'd look Angels team total here over 4.5. Just a lukewarm lean here for me on Angels team total over 4.5. But I think that's the way I would bet it here if I were to get involved. Connor, what do you think here? Angels versus Cleveland.
Yeah, Hentges, you got to take him as a favorite here today. Huge win for the Angels to come all the way back, beat the Tigers there. They've been logging some miles here. Maybe it catches up with them. They should be able to score some. I'm with you. I can't take the Indians. I lean their way. I kind of lean the over a bit in this game, over 9.5. I don't think Barria is anything good. We've seen some of these games they can get into. So I'm on the over 9.5 for now. And I think the Indians a bit. I think the Angels just are on a long trip here. The Miles might be catching up with them.
Yeah, definitely. And plus, that's another thing that concerns me too. We've got a team here where we've got the Angels that had that crazy comeback against Detroit, and sometimes the next day off that kind of rousing comeback, you're flat. So that's another. That's why I said lukewarm, right? Just make sure I stress that lukewarm opinion on the Angels team total over 4.5 here for me. Next up, we got Miami, Cincinnati, Elieser Hernandez for the Marlins, and Sonny. Yesterday, my life filled with rain. Sonny Gray for the Reds. We've got Cincinnati minus 190, home favorites, 8.5 the total in this one here. Sonny Gray, we've talked about his issues previously here on this show where, it's been definitely up and down. It's been ragged the way he has been pitching lately for this Reds team coming into this start, up and down. It's been like a yo-yo, some good starts, some bad starts. Last time against the Phillies, 3 runs, 4 hits, 4.2 innings. He cruised along early and then ran into serious trouble and was very fortunate to slither out of a bases-loaded jam. More walks than strikeouts. That's a bit of a red flag for me. 5.4 ERA this year at Great American Ballpark here in Cincinnati. So he's had a little bit of a tough time of it, Sonny Gray. Elieser Hernandez, 1 run, 4 hits, 5.1 innings for the Marlins in his last start. Actually pitched pretty well. The Reds getting the better of the Marlins in the series opener last night, 6-1 victory in that game. It's a tough one because Elieser's actually got some decent numbers overall this year, 2.84 ERA, 1.8 ERA this year on the road, although only one of those games was a start. So keep that in mind. It's tough. I think the Reds could hit still. Could the Marlins get something off Gray? I think the bet that I might be more likely to go with here, Marlins over their 3.5. Because if you take that, you don't have to worry about what the Reds do against Elieser. But I do think the Marlins can get some runs on the board here against Gray. Gray doesn't look right. Gray, I think, is less than 100%. I think there's some kind of injury that's ailing him. And I've said this for weeks. You saw it in the last start against Philly. Laboring. Guys on base every inning. Barely gets out of a bases-loaded jam against Philly in that 4th or 5th inning. Walks more guys than he strikes out. Those are all signs and indicators of a guy that's battling some kind of minor injury. And I think it's still bothering Gray a little bit here. So if I were to get involved, I think the Reds offense, again, it's been flighty this week. They've been shut down by some bad pitchers. A couple of those Cubs pitchers were really bad, and the Reds suddenly got shut down by them. Were better last night, but Elieser does have decent numbers this year. So that's why I'm taking the Reds lineup against Elieser out of my handicap, and I'm going to maybe look just Marlins team total over 3.5, good number, even money price, and just hope Miami gets to 4 runs against a pitcher that I think's got some red flags right now. Sonny Gray, maybe not 100%, laboring in every start. And again, that 5.4 ERA at home for Gray this year, not great either. Conor, Mac, what do you think here? Miami, Cincinnati.
Yeah, this one's interesting. I think, man, it's tough for Gray, for a guy. I've always had trouble, with him, especially betting on him. He's kind of like Castillo, just not right with them. Castillo pitched well yesterday and the Reds hit, but I couldn't, that Votto homer really got him going. They didn't score any runs before that in the last few days. That big 3-run jack was huge. He's given a 4-2-3, like you said, a lot of guys on base. Sonny Gray, a lot of walks. His last few starts. I think there's value with the Marlins. I don't, it's not like my favorite look or anything, but plus 170, you could take him first 5, plus 150. I just don't want Gray here. And you're right. You could go with the team total over 3.5 for the Marlins, but I think if they can get 4 or 5, they could win this game. So Hernandez has been good. Over his career, he's a guy around 4 or 5 ERA. He's pitched well coming because these first few starts, he was out a long time, but he's pitched well. So I'm going to roll with the dog Marlins here.
All right, next up we've got thanks for the donation, Slick Rick. Not the Slick Rick we know the most famous Slick Rick, but nevertheless, Slick Rick, $4.99 donation.
Rick.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Again, you guys make the show and make us be doing the. You're the reason we do this show every day. Let me get my grammar straight. You're the reason we do this show every day, and we wouldn't be doing it without our viewers and without our support from all of you guys. So thank you for the support. We appreciate it. Let's keep on rolling. White Sox and Rays, a battle of AL heavyweights here, AL contenders for the World Series here, squaring off. We've got the White Sox here actually favored in Tampa, minus 120, road favorites, 8.5 the total. Michael Wacha, Flocka Flame, who's been getting flamed as in flame broiled lately on the mound for the Tampa Bay Rays. He's the reason the White Sox are favored on the road in this game. Otherwise, Tampa would at least be moderate chalk. And look, Waka's been god-awful the last 2 starts. I mean, just brutal. 13 runs, 19 hits in 9 innings. Think about that. He's gone just 9 innings. He's given up 13 runs and 21 hits in those 2 games. So he's just been absolutely a horrendous, hideous for the Tampa Bay Rays. This is one of those games. On the flip side, you got Giolito, who's been, for the most part, I guess, since the early part of July, right before the All-Star break, he's been good more than he's been not. But he hasn't faced a juggernaut lineup in a while. We'll see how he fares here against the Rays. Lucas Giolito he has 2.03 ERA. Against the Rays. He does have good numbers here against the Rays in the past, but I don't know if that's going to carry over here to tonight. We'll have to wait and see. The White Sox had a loss yesterday in the series finale against the Oakland Athletics. But before that, they had won 3. I don't know if I want to lay the price with Chicago. This is usually the kind of spot where I don't want to take Chicago because it's a good team on the road. And I don't always trust Chicago against really good teams that are equal to or as good as them on the road. But I can't back Wacha. I just can't. There's just no way in hell I can take Tampa Bay with Wacha on the mound, even getting a favorable price here. This is a game where I'm going to go with both team totals over and the full game over. I think it can get there. It's only 8.5, and they bet it down. I don't trust Giolito on the road against the Rays, and the Rays really have been mashing the ball this week, albeit Baltimore. But I think they can have some success at home here against Giolito. And on the flip side, White Sox surely I think are going to get theirs against Michael Wacha as well. So I think both teams can hit their team total. And I think we can get over 8.5 for the full game as well. So nothing on the side. It's all totals. Tommy totals for me in this White Sox Rays game. Conor, what do you think here? Chicago, Tampa Bay.
Yeah, Waka Flocka. Man, I just can't get. Can he pitch a good start here? Because I'm with you. I think this is over 8.5. I don't trust Giolito on the road. That Yankee start, he labored the whole time through, 4 innings. Gave up only a couple runs though, but he didn't last that long. And Waka 7 against the Twins, 5 Baltimore, 6 against Seattle. That's about where he's at. So I was with you there. I thought you could look at the White Sox team total, the Rays team total, or the over 8.5. Can Waka finally pitch a good game? I doubt it. I think he gives up his. And Giolito, just no road for him. He's a guy who's up and down, and I wouldn't lay the price. It's just tough. There's one guy at this Rays starting rotation. I don't know how he goes much longer as Waka. He's one guy. It's hard to back. But the Rays should be able to score. I mean, they've been sure of hitting the last few days. Who knows? Watch, it's a 2-0 game with these. So I lean over, but it's just leans here for me early.
By the way, I want to mention this. This is important here. The last 3 games for the White Sox bullpen. Now, 3 games. There's remember, each baseball game is 9 innings. So 3 games. That's 27 innings. The White Sox bullpen has logged 33.2 innings in the last 3 games. So that's another thing that makes me go gear toward over 8.5 tonight. The White Sox bullpen is pretty good when they're on, but they've logged a lot. They threw a lot of innings in that Oakland series just completed with no day off either. No day off because they played yesterday. So that could be a depleted, tired bullpen late, and that could open the door for runs late. So this is one of those games. I don't do this often. I've done it 3 times, 4 maybe all season. Both team totals and over full game total. I'm doing all 3 of those tonight in this White Sox and Rays game. All right, we've got Washington and Milwaukee next up. Pat Corbin, Brett Anderson, the pitching matchup here. Milwaukee minus 195, minus 200. Home favorites in this one. The total 9, pretty much across the board. This is an over again for me. Washington's just an over machine right now. Their pitching's lousy. It's awful. Their bullpen's probably even worse. I mean, they're rolling out guys like freaking Finnegan every single night to be their closer. Kyle Finnegan, who's just a mediocre at best reliever. It's because they don't have a good bullpen. They don't have many options there. And we're seeing that. Washington's just – but the one thing about Washington, Connor Mack, is their offense is still capable. We've seen it now. 3 straight games, 5, 12, and 8 runs, 4 straight overs. I think that continues here. Patrick Corbin, by the way, he's on an over streak as well with him on the mound. He's not been a guy that we've liked a lot this year. He's been struggling, continues 6.04 ERA this year for Patrick Corbin. That's probably got a chance to continue tonight. In his last 3 starts, or really his last 6 starts have been brutal. 6, 5, 4, 4, 5, 6. The runs scored. The over is 6-1 in Corbin's last 7 starts. On the other side, you've got Brett Anderson on the mound here for the Brewers, who had been pitching really well, but there's no greater warning sign to what I think maybe you're going to hit maybe a little bit of a skid than getting lit up by, of all teams, the Pittsburgh Pirates. And that's what happened to Brett Anderson. That might have been the last time Pittsburgh's offense did anything of note, is when they faced Brett Anderson 6 days ago and scored 6 runs, 8 hits, and 3.1 innings against him in that game. This has over written all over it. And when you look at it, too, because Milwaukee should hit Corbin, I think, and Washington, we know against lefties, that's where they're a little bit better, this lineup. They do hit left-handed pitching. It's been that way for a couple of seasons. By the way, the Nationals, I believe they're on an over streak against left-handed starters as well. 6-0 to the over for the Washington Nationals in their last 6 games against the lefty. So that's what we have in play here tonight as well. And I talked about bullpens that have been overused, taxed, and fatigued. Look at Milwaukee's bullpen. They threw a shit ton of innings. How about 48 in the series against the St. Louis Cardinals that just completed last night? So that bullpen's been worn down. That bullpen's been fatigued. So you got a bad Washington bullpen and a normally good Milwaukee bullpen, but one that's gassed, one that's had to throw a shit ton of innings. I don't expect them to be fresh or relatively as sharp tonight. So the recipe is there, I think, for this game to go over the total, Nats and Brewers. Connor Mack, what do you think here, Washington, Milwaukee?
Yeah, I'm with you here. I think the Nats, you talked about all their lefty success. And then Anderson, who finally had a bad game against the Pirates. I think it's a first 5 over 1.5, and I don't mind the 3.5 full game, -120. I look there, and how not with the Brewers? Man, this team shoved it to me yesterday. I think they did to you too, Ian, but a 4 spot, and you got 5 more innings, 6 more innings. You can't get one more across. Yep. Woodford, obviously, he didn't have it, Woodruff, but yeah, just rough ones. Horrible at bats. Can't get one more, scratch one or across. It's horrible. They should get to Corbin, but I kind of like the Nats a little bit better, either singling their first 5 or full game over 3.5. I like the Brewers. They'll probably put up some, but at 5.5, I'm just probably going to stay off. So either I'm going to roll Nats or I might go full game just over the 9 with both in this one.
Yeah, that's not a bad way to go about it. Zach Wilson for MVP does bring up something that's interesting, and it's, look, you can only go by what you've seen, and what we've seen is Walk is dreadful, but I also thought, you're right, Heaney would be dreadful against Boston the other night. Blackburn wasn't great, but he survived, and he pitched a lot better than I thought he would against the White Sox the other night. So sometimes these pitchers that are just in rough shape, their numbers all stare out and jump out off the page at you, that they're wretched numbers, that they're obviously going to struggle. As I always say, the 2 words that can sometimes make all of that false, that's baseball. That's the words I always come back to. That's baseball. Heaney giving up a run and 2 hits to the Red Sox the other night, that's baseball. Blackburn somehow, keeping in check one of the best lineups in Major League Baseball, that's baseball. And that's what's frustrating about it. That's often what can be very, very frustrating about it. You can look at all the numbers you want, and everything adds up to they should mash this guy, they should rip this guy. That's baseball whenever it doesn't happen. That's what it's like your serenity now. That's what you got to do. Don't get angry. Don't throw shit against the wall. Don't throw your keyboard or laptop out the window. Don't do any of that. If things don't go your way, Just calm down, take a deep breath. Just like last night. Do you think I enjoyed seeing the Brewers' first 5 go up in flames last night? Of course not. But did I tear apart my house? Did I throw things out the window? Did I break shit? Did I set something on fire? No, I did not. I just said, that's baseball. And I felt better. Really, it was that simple. That's baseball. I don't know if it didn't immediately make me feel better because it was a bet I really liked, and I thought I was going to cash it going into that bottom of the 5th inning last night, that Brewers' first 5. But nevertheless, it actually did calm me down a little bit. So remember that moving forward. That's baseball. That's baseball. Hopefully it can actually calm you guys down the way sometimes it calms me down. But again, it doesn't always work. That's baseball isn't going to bring, $500 back in your pocket. That's saying that's baseball is not going to bring back 1,000 in your pocket if whatever amount you end up betting on a certain game. So that's the thing. Sometimes that it depends on how you're wired mentally. Sometimes the loss of significant monies, and doesn't matter what you say, it's not going to take away the sting and the pain and the anger and the frustration of losing that money. So again, to each his own. But for me, that's baseball, Connor. Sometimes that does calm me down. How about you? Do you have a calming mechanism when a game just goes completely disastrous against you?
No. I just get fucking pissed, and then I'll calm down. It just takes a while. The night will go on. But right away, I have no real calming. And it's always, what makes it is the next day. We don't do this. We're not picking out a days. We're doing this every day. So there's highs and lows. And we've had some nice highs and some shitty lows, and it's a roller coaster. So, and we still got a ways to go, but I wouldn't trade it for anything.
No, that's right. It's a roller coaster, but you just keep on moving along. And that's the thing. It could be a brutal day, a shit ton of bad beats the previous day. You start the next day 0-0, and you get after it again and get at it again. That's the way it goes. Seattle and Houston. Now, Yusei Kikuchi and Lance McCullers. We've got Houston minus 200, home favorites in this one. 8.5 the total in this game. Kikuchi really had problems in his last start against the Jays. Wild, not finding the strike zone, walking guys left and right. Really, really struggled in that game. And I don't want to back him here against Houston. When the Houston's lineup is on, they can hit lefties. And look, the lineup, I don't know what happened to them against Kansas City. Took them until the latter innings of yesterday's game to finally wake up and start to hit. And they should hit Kikuchi if Kikuchi's going to be off his game. As for McCullers, we know how much we've liked the way he's pitched for most of the year. 3.22 ERA for Lance McCullers coming into the start for the Houston Astros. But Houston's just one of those teams where they aren't winning games easily right now. I mean, they were on a 4-game losing streak, and they had to basically come back from the dead yesterday against Kansas City to come back and win that game. So I don't feel necessarily all that comfortable laying this kind of price with Houston, but I'm certainly not anxious to step in front of them here either with McCullers on the mound, who's had a terrific year for this Astros team. 3.22 ERA, 12-8 they are in his 20 starts. Don't trust Kikuchi. Don't trust the Astros, though, to hit him. Like, even if he's wild a little bit and erratic, we've seen a situation where sometimes, and which Kikuchi is it going to be? He's had 2 pretty bad starts against Houston, but in between he had that gem in Houston where he shut them down. 7 innings of 1-hit shutout ball. So it's just a lot of variance and randomness here and what we could expect. So I'm not involved in this game tonight. It's a pass for me. Connor, what do you think here? Seattle, Houston.
Yeah, you're talking about everything here. Everything you talked about. Kikuchi could pitch well. McCullers could get hit. He hasn't looked as great the last few. He could pitch great. Kikuchi could get rocked. The Astros have had success off him. They haven't been hitting. They haven't been scoring. They were lucky to get out of there yesterday with a victory. That was tough. So, this is the game I want no part of. Can these guys both pitch well? Yep, I think. But I've been in a few when the Mariners back at home, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, a couple first 5 unders and got burned early. Tons of runs and then nothing the rest of the game. I wanted to take the first 5 under, but it's 4.5. No way. There could be runs here. I'm going to stay far away. If I had to take anything, though, I'd take the Mariners. at the plus 165. At right now, until the Astros really start hitting, I wouldn't lay the price with them here.
Yeah, I mean, and for the Mariners, for the Astros, these are big games because they're suddenly not assured of first place in the AL West. I mean, they're just still barely ahead of Oakland for first. So these are big games for Houston, but they're obviously critical games for Seattle as they're trying to hang around in the wild card race. But and you can never do wrong with taking a plus price of this size against a Seattle team that's really only 5 wins less than Houston coming into this game. So. For me, I would be with you there. I mean, I like McCullers a lot. That's the one thing would keep me off Seattle here, but certainly in terms of where the price is, Mariners, maybe if you sprinkle on that, I wouldn't hate it. Pittsburgh and St. Louis, Mitch Keller, Miles Michaelis back after a long absence for the Cardinals. Yeah, he hasn't pitched in a game since May 22nd. Back in the rotation tonight, we've got St. Louis minus 210, home favorites, 8.5 the total. Don't look now. St. Louis is alive and well. Once again in the wild card race. They're right there. They're right behind Cincinnati and San Diego. So this has been a good run that the Cardinals have put together for the most part. We'll see how Michaelis fares. He hasn't pitched again since May 22nd, gave up 1 run, 3 hits, 4 innings. He has been out from those arm injuries that have been completely set him back. And remember, he missed all of last year because he took surgery for the flexor tendon in his right arm. So he experienced the shoulder soreness in that first start back. What are we going to expect from him? That's the question. And even if he's not 100%, can the Pirates do anything about it at this point? Really, offensively, can they really do anything about it at this point, the Pirates? I mean, to say they've been awful offensively is giving them too much credit. It's just been dreadful for this Pittsburgh lineup. Speaking of dreadful, Mitch Keller, 6.86 ERA. He's had a tough time of it all year, pretty much. He had given up 4 runs at least in 3 straight starts. Last start, he was better against the Brewers, but not much better. I know he only gave up 2 runs, but he only went 4.1 innings, and he gave up 9 hits. So he just got his way out of every jam pretty much in that inning. If they get one clutch hit, Milwaukee, in that last Mitch Keller start, they put like a 6 or 7 spot on the board against him, not just 2 runs. So he's not been good. This looks to me a game where St. Louis should win. St. Louis should maybe even cover the run line. I'd lean in that direction with them. It's certainly a huge game for them. They feel they got the confidence and the swagger. They're starting to get it back again. Look, Tyler O'Neill, my Canadian buddy who just broke me, shattered me last night with that home run to blow the first 5 from Milwaukee. So my countryman doing me wrong there in that game last night, but he's been rolling at the plate. Arenado's starting to get it fired up. Goldschmidt's been good. Like this lineup's starting to get it going again for the Cardinals. They should be able to do damage here. 4.5 team total is the way I would go. You know, that probably will bet that. St. Louis over 4.5 minus 130 should hit Pittsburgh's Keller, should hit the bullpen. I don't want to really get involved too much with run line and money line tonight with St. Louis with the uncertainty of what Miles Michaelis is going to pitch like for them tonight, first start in 2 months. So I'd rather just go focus on the Cardinals to do some damage offensively and just go team total, take the uncertainty out of it when it comes to Michaelis tonight. What do you think here, Connor, Pittsburgh, St. Louis?
Yeah, this is horrible. The Pirates can't score. At times I want to take them. Keller on the road, I can't do it. All right, Solat Media, back on try. Let's get going. Appreciate it, brother. $4.99 dono. I'm trying, man. Oh, shit.
Thank you very much. Solat Media every day. We appreciate that. Yeah, someone in the chat said minus 0.5, minus 135 St. Louis. That's not bad. But again, Michaelis is I don't know what to expect. And I don't love backing guys first start back when shoulder soreness is what they had the issue with. You know, you don't know what you're going to get.
Yes. And he pitched well in a few starts. And he'd only go about in AAA. He only went 4 innings. He had a few shitty starts where he gave up 3-4 runs. He gave up 7 in one of them here. So I'd be careful with him. So it's a difficult spot. Cards could kick ass. One thing about the Cardinals the last week is they've had one big inning. They had that one big inning against the Royals. They had the one big inning last night. They had the one inning that they lost the night before. They had 3 runs in the first, nothing the rest of the way. So they're a team that they've hit better, but it's been like one inning or bust the rest of the way. I know Arenado and Goldschmidt have been hitting better. I just can't trust their sticks. I mean, I lean that Cards team total over 4.5, but at minus 145, I don't love it. And when these teams get together, I did it last week when it was in Pittsburgh, but I don't trust the starters here. I'd be on the first 5 under 4.5, but too shaky with Mikolas off the shoulder and Keller on the road. So it's a game I'm just going to break off.
All right, Arizona, Colorado, Tyler Gilbert and Austin Gomber, a battle of lefties here in this one. We've got Colorado minus 185, home favorites here, total 11.5 shaded to the under. Yeah, people know now that this Colorado team's a terror at home. I mean, well, part of it also is they're playing Arizona, but the value is definitely slip sliding away. It's slip sliding away here, the value on this Colorado team at home. The odds makers are boosting these prices now to back Colorado at Coors Field in that 41-21 home record for the Colorado. That's pretty amazing. They're 20 games above 500 at home. They just swept the Padres at Coors Field. You know, not a great San Diego team the way they've been playing lately, but still a very good team. They have just been magnificent. I'm not going against Colorado at home. No way, no how. The question is, what do we get from our guy, Tyler Gilbert, who's coming off a complete game no-hitter against the San Diego Padres in his first start this year? Can he sustain that? I don't know. To me, that was a situation where I don't feel like I should trust him here. He's just a guy that came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden he pitches this no-hitter against San Diego. By the way, that's how bad Major League Baseball is today at times, that it's just so easy for someone to pitch a no-hitter. We've had no-hitters from guys that you would think, that guy got a no-hitter? And that is what we're basically saying about Tyler Gilbert following that start against San Diego. So I don't trust him to follow it up. The Rockies are hitting everything in sight in this ballpark. You look at the home numbers, 13, 6, 7, 7. I mean, they're routinely getting over 6 runs, in this home ballpark. So I don't trust Gilbert here to follow that up. And usually off the no-hitter, Connor Mack, for me, that's usually a fade. That's usually a spot I want to bet against somebody when they're coming off a no-hitter. And now you're going from, Arizona to this bandbox of Coors Field. So I got to see it before I believe it that Tyler Gilbert pitches well again. Austin Gomber, he did not pitch well his last start, but it was against the Giants, 5 runs, 7 hits, 4 innings. Before that, pitched pretty well in most of his recent starts. And his home ERA, I can't believe how good it is. At Coors Field, he has a 1.7 home ERA. Colorado is 6-2 in those games. They've outscored the opponent by almost 2 runs per game in those Austin Gomber home starts. So he's pitched well against them. He faced Arizona back on May 1st this year. 2 earned runs, 4 runs allowed, but only 2 of them were earned. So there was some bad defense by the Rockies that day. 2 earned runs, 5 hits, 6 innings. Colorado still won that game in Arizona, 14-6, higher scoring affair. This total is 11.5. I'm not going over that number. I would lean Colorado, maybe run line minus 1.5, maybe a first 5. You could go with that as well. But I'm probably going to pass this game. I mean, the prices are getting up there now. It was nice to bet Colorado against San Diego. Even against Miami, the prices were relatively solid. But now we're talking almost minus 200. And sometimes you just got to move along and realize that the value ship has sailed. And to me, the value ship has sailed in Colorado at home. They finally adjusted, and I'm not getting involved with it. Connor Mack, what do you think here, Arizona, Colorado?
Yeah, a couple of hot teams here. D-backs running hot. Rockies hot at home. The problem is these teams win at home, so I want the home team. But you talked about it. The price, Gomber had a bad start. I know he was on the paternity list. I don't know if he had a baby. I don't know. That start was horrible against the Giants. He should be better because he's been really good at home. Man, like you talked about, there's not a lot of value here. The Rockies team total 6.5. No way I can take it. I look at them run line or first 5 half a run here with the Rockies in some form. They're at home. I'll just keep riding them. But these D-backs have been better. Can they go on the road and win. I mean, that was a good sweep of Philly. I wish I was on them more. I was on a few unders in one game, but I was just on them yesterday. I like the first 5 under 6. I want 6 in the hook. I don't know if Gilbert, will be that good. I think he gives up a few tonight. This is a guy, though, he's 27, but he had good numbers. He kind of got hurt and throughout his whole minor league career. Gilbert kind of slid under the radar. If you look back to his single A, his ERAs were in 2, 3s. So he's a guy that just kind of got a chance, but he's a lefty that's crafty. But yeah, I'd only be on the Rockies here in some form.
All right, good stuff. It is time for 7th inning stretch time. There we go, because we've reached the West Coast games. We'll shout out everybody in the chat. I would lean Colorado. It's Colorado or pass for me. The one thing about Arizona, though, Connor Mack mentioned it. They're, they beat San Diego and they swept Philly, who needs wins at this time of year. Like they're actually playing better. So
it can hit lefties a little bit.
Making me pump the brakes a little bit. But obviously, Colorado at home is a Colorado or pass for me. But I'm opting personally to pass on that game. Zach Wilson for MVP. R. Ron Fox, Real Deal Prime, Meat Man, R. DX Filer. We appreciate everybody. Ralph Bryant, not applicable. We appreciate everybody in the chat here. Crystal Warren, Ron Crawford, Eric Jones, Can't Get Right, LJ from H-Town. Let me see that. Slick Rick for the dono as well. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Danzo, Boston Nick. There he is, Boston Nick, one of Pub's finest. We got Blake Atwood. We appreciate everybody in the chat. Lucky Power. Let me just see. Lit Picks. Jamail Stone. Zach DeFreitas. We appreciate it. Or Kevin DeFreitas, I should say. Chief. We appreciate everybody. Delaware Baseball. Thank you for everyone for Meat Man. Thank you, everybody, for joining us in the chat today. We appreciate it. Let's go to the Battle of the Bay Area here. San Francisco and Oakland. Alex Wood, James Kaprelian for the Oakland Athletics. We've got San Francisco right now in this one, minus 115 road favorites, 9 the total in this game. Oakland, obviously, a much-needed win to salvage one of the 4 games against the White Sox yesterday, hanging on for a 5-4 victory. And we talked about the White Sox and their bullpen haven't been used a lot in that series. Say the same thing about Oakland. 30 bullpen innings in that 3-game set against the White Sox. So I worry about that a little bit for them here. And I worry about Kaprelian a little bit because San Francisco Giants against right-handed pitching, their numbers are insane, especially lately against righties. Hitting well, 5.1 runs per game. Their OPS is right up there in terms of being able to hit right-handed pitching. We'll see how they're able to fare here today. But they are facing a guy in Kaprelian who's been kind of crafty. He's shown the capability of getting the job done, but kind of downward spiral just slightly for him. He got roughed up by San Diego, labored through 5.1 very, very strenuous innings against Texas last time out. And Oakland now going from Chicago back to the West Coast with no day off. That's a negative scheduling situation in my mind as well. And as for San Francisco, they're coming off a series against the New York Mets where they lost 6-2, lost the finale of that game, but they won the first 2 of that series, and they're still 8-2 in their last 10 games overall. The one thing I've noticed, and we talked about Alex Wood, second half of the year hasn't been necessarily as good as he was earlier in the year, but he did pitch better in his last start against Colorado. 2 runs, 6 hits, 6.2 innings. And it has to be said that the Oakland Athletics against lefties, in terms of their overall numbers this year, they're only bottom half of Major League Baseball team against lefty pitching this year, the Oakland Athletics. So this could be a game where Wood can do a decent job and hold the Athletics in check. To me, this is a bargain on San Fran with the way they've played, and I like them off a loss. They don't lose too many in a row very often. When they lose their previous game, they're usually a good team to bounce back from that. So for me, I would only look to the Giants here around minus 110, minus 115. Connor Mack, what do you think here, San Francisco and Oakland?
Yeah, we'll see with Kaprelian. I guess that, that arm isn't that sore here. He's a lot better pitcher at home, though, than on the road. Giants day off, you talked about it. They're just go over the Bay, so they're rested. I kind of back the Giants here, minus 115. I think they're the look. I like the day off. I don't mind the A's. You mentioned it. They're they're a team kind of who rips lefties or they can get shut down. And I'm not a huge Alex Wood backer. He's got the job done though this year. The wind's kind of blowing out. I lean the under a tad bit with these guys. Obviously, the Giants haven't seen Caprillion before, so should be interesting. But I lean the Giants here.
Yeah, they faced two lefties in that White Sox series, and they let Keuchel off the hook many times, and they got shut down completely by Reynaldo Lopez. I mean, that's not good. That's been a pattern lately for the Oakland Athletics. They have not necessarily been able to get it done against lefty pitching. So we'll see if that carries over here into tonight. So that's why I favor the Giants. Giants are just a better team. They really are. I mean, Oakland's good, but Oakland's been kind of in a slump. They lost 2 or 3 to Texas, lost 3 or 4 to Chicago. I mean, they're not playing great baseball right now, Oakland. So to me, I would only look Giants. That'll make Nut Flush Allen happy if he's watching. Mets and Dodgers, Carlos Carrasco and Walker Buehler for the LA Dodgers. Dodgers minus 250, home favorites, 8.5, the total in this one. I don't have much on this. I'm not going to get involved in it. Carrasco, though, I'm not backing the Mets and Carrasco till I see something better. He has definitely labored since returning to this rotation. He has not looked sharp. He has not looked right. Walker Buehler, you know what you're going to get. Just been Mr. Consistent all year long. An ERA is sitting barely above 2. 2.09 ERA this deep into the season is extremely impressive, and that's what Walker Buehler has right now going into this game. You know, the Dodgers team total is only 4.5. I'd lean over with it because I don't trust Carrasco. Carrasco, he just got roughed up on Sunday Night Baseball at Citi Field last weekend by this Dodgers team. I'm not going to buy into him just turning it around until I see a better start. Now, you could say sometimes with these short turnaround looks, when the pitcher struggles in the first start, oftentimes he pitches better in the second, and then the reverse can happen. Pitches good in the first start, and then he gets roughed up in the second start when the same team is facing him twice in less than a week. And that's the situation here. But that's 2 bad starts for Carrasco. I can't back him until I see something good on the board in terms of a quality outing from him. I haven't seen it yet. I'm not betting the game, but if I have to throw it a lean in one direction or another here in this one, I'll go with Dodgers team total over 4.5. Connor Mack, what do you think here? Mets Dodgers.
Yeah, Carrasco got ripped by the Dodgers. He doesn't look right. His fastball's just hitting like 92, and those sliders are just hanging. His cutters and stuff, they were just hanging right there. They got to be tighter, or he's going to get hit again. Man, Buehler, 12-2. ERA 2.09. I mean, he looks like the Cy Young with DeGrom, having to be out with his arm here. The team total is 4.5. Maybe you could look first 5 here with the Dodgers, over 2.5. Or the Dodgers, I don't love them too much at home run line. It's only minus 120, 125. I think they score runs here. The lineup looks better, and they can beat up on Carrasco. The Mets bullpen is okay at times. We know shaky the Dodgers. Trinan's been phenomenal. He's got to be the guy going forward. I mean, he's been going out and shutting it down every time. He's got to be the closer from now on. So, yeah, give me the Dodgers here, run line.
All right, next up we have the Philadelphia Phillies and the San Diego Padres. It is Matt Moore against Blake Snell in this one, battle of lefties. We've got San Diego minus 200, minus 210. Home favorites in this game, 9 the total in this one. Blake Snell, who for most of the year has been very good at Petco Park and pretty bad on the road. He's been pretty good everywhere the last 3 starts, because 2 of the last 3 starts have been on the road against Oakland and Arizona. And against Oakland, in Oakland, he gave up 1 run, 6 hits, 5 innings, had the 2-hit shutout in 7 innings against Arizona. And then he faced Arizona again 5 days later in the desert and only gave up 2 runs on 6 hits and 5 innings. So he's been better, Blake Snell. Definitely showing signs of improvement and turning this thing around. And look, the Phillies are hitting 169 as a team, less than 3 runs per game against lefties in their last 10 games. They just come off a series against Arizona, the lowly Diamondbacks, where they get swept and they score 6 runs in the 3 games combined. And the pitchers they faced in those games, a retread Madison Bumgarner, who's not like he was in his prime, Humberto Castellanos, a mediocre run-of-the-mill spot starter, and Taylor Widener, who stunk most of the year. Those are the pitchers that shut down this Phillies team in Arizona this week. So no way am I trusting them to hit Blake Snell. I know Blake Snell's had his issues so far this year, but there's no way especially with Snell's form turning around in his last 3 games, there's no way I'm trusting this Phillies lineup to hit a lick off this guy. So for me, it's either you lay the run line with San Diego, or maybe you look San Diego team total. I might get there with the San Diego team total. I know they're not playing good ball either right now. They've lost a bunch in a row. They're 1-8 or 1-7, I should say, in their last 8 games. They lost 3 of 4 at Arizona, and they just got swept at Colorado. So it's not like the Padres are in good form, but I think the thing that tilts this in their favor is they get to pick on Matt Moore, who I don't think much of. I know he comes off a better start against Cincinnati last time out, but his numbers still are terrible this year. 6.07 ERA. His road ERA is not good. He's facing a Padres team that overall for the year, their numbers against lefties stack up a little bit better than they do against righties. So for me, it's San Diego or pass. I'm not saying I'm jumping to back San Diego here, but they're the lesser of the 2 evils. They're the lesser of the 2 teams struggling right now. For me, it would be San Diego, either run line or maybe their team total over 5.5. I would lean in both of those directions with San Diego. Connor, what do you think here? Phillies, Padres.
Man, a couple of bad teams losing a lot right now. And they got a lot to play for, so they should step it up. Padres just got their ass whipped. Colorado, they got a day off. They're back home. Snell's been better at home, but this is the game I'm going to just stay away from. I can't lay Blake Snell on at home, minus 210. Just no freaking way. Tatis is back. They should hit more, but Moore pitched well in his last start. And the Phillies at this plus price look tempting to me. It's a game I'm just going to pass.
Yeah, they're one of those teams to me these days with the Phillies. When you're tempted to bet them, you just say, don't do it. And usually I don't do it. They're just one of those teams. They're one of the most frustrating.
But you haven't seen them at this number either, though. No. You haven't seen them at plus 200 almost. But yeah, for the most part, yeah. I mean, that was awful. Those 3 games in Arizona. No offense.
And it does, yeah. As Real Deal Prime says, San Diego's going to release some tension tonight. That's kind of what I think, too. I mean, they are 40-24 at home, San Diego. That Petco Park record is really good. And I think that's probably what they need a little bit of right now. And I don't know, that Philadelphia team, that Arizona series was embarrassing, how bad that was for Philadelphia. I know San Diego. Look, San Diego's not roses.
They were just there before.
Sunshine and
they got whipped by Arizona.
They got whipped by Arizona 3 of 4 and swept by Colorado. But I thought the Philly performance against Arizona was worse than what San Diego did against Colorado these last 3 games. I mean, how do you only score 6 runs against the triumvirate of Bumgarner, Castellanos, a spot starter, and Widener, who's been awful most of the year? How do you only score 6 runs in those 3 games if you're the Philadelphia Phillies? So, and it's a Phillies team that they had closed the gap. They were right there. They were first, in the division a couple weeks ago. Now they've fallen back, and Atlanta's looking like they're maybe showing signs of maybe pulling away from both the Phillies and the Mets at this rate. So it is an important game for the Phillies, but I would still either take San Diego, run line, team total, run line with San Diego, or nothing at all when it comes to this game. Great stuff with Connor Mack, as always. Thanks to everyone in the chat for joining us. We will get to Best Bets, Jack of the Day in just a second. But first, sponsors time to hear from Manscaped and Southtown 101. All right, Southtown 101. When you're in San Antonio, Texas, stop in for great food, drinks, live music, DJs, and karaoke as well. Southtown 101 in San Antonio. Manscaped, promo code PubSports. Get 20% off your purchase using the promo code PubSports. Lawnmower 4.0. And every Manscaped product, you can get 20% off with the promo code PubSports. And mybookie.ag, promo code PubSports. Football season. We got NFL in 3 weeks. College football next Saturday. It's here. So get ready for that. MyBookie.ag, promo code PubSports. Bitcoin accepted currency for your deposit as well. MyBookie.ag, promo code PubSports. Speaking of college football starting next Saturday, we are going to be doing a hybrid combination MLB/college football Saturday morning show, 10 a.m. Eastern time, 7 a.m. Pacific time next Saturday, August the 28th. And it'll get everybody used to the time too, because we're going to be doing the college football show starting the following week every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And we're going to do every baseball game on the Saturday, and we'll do the 4 college football games next Saturday on that morning show, August the 28th. We'll talk, obviously, the 4 games that day are Nebraska, Illinois. We've got UTEP, New Mexico State. We've got Hawaii, UCLA, and UConn, Fresno State on those on that opening Saturday, August 28th. So we'll have MLB and college football betting analysis for you right here on Pub Sports Radio next Saturday, August 28th, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific time. Looking forward to college football getting underway, and looking forward to seeing what we can find in terms of best bets and also Jack of the Day, which comes up right now.
We'll see you later.
Right. Jack of the Day here. It was a little bit more slim pickings this today in terms of Jack of the Day, but one obvious candidate stuck out like a sore thumb. Nelson Cruz for the Tampa Bay Rays, 10 for 25, 400 average, 4 home runs against Lucas Giolito. Has seen a lot of them going back to the days of Minnesota. So Nelson Cruz, an obvious candidate there for Jack of the Day in that one. A couple others that I got interested in, Yordan Alvarez against Yusei Kikuchi, Kyle Seager against Lance McCullers in that Mariners Astros game, the Washington-Milwaukee game, Josh Bell against Brett Anderson, Avisail Garcia against Patrick Corbin to get a home run. Same with Yelich, who has good numbers against Corbin as well. So a couple in that Washington-Milwaukee game. And that's about it. I kept it pretty light today in terms of the Jack of the Day home run props. Nothing much more than that. You could always go with maybe a couple Dodgers against Carrasco, Will Smith, Turner, Muncy have all homered against Carrasco. Conor Mack, Jack of the Day, what do you got?
Yeah, you mentioned Cruz. I thought it was a decent price for how many homers he has at plus 340. I'm going to go Bogarts plus 450. You mentioned Kyle Seager. Not Corey, Kyle. He's plus 500, even though they both hit homers the other night. And I'd look at one of the Giants. I thought there's been value where they're with them all year. Maybe Crawford plus 500. They're all around plus 500, or Bryant plus 450. That's it.
All right. It is time for best bets now. Conor Mack, best bet. What do you got for us? I mean, both of us last night with the best bet on the Brewers. We both lost in cruel, painful fashion. The first 5 for me, the team total, and them being stuck on 4. For that entire.
Yeah, mine was drawn out though.
Yeah, at least mine was quick. Bam, you lose. For you, it was just you might lose. You still no. It looks like no. We think you're going to win. We think you're going to win. It's starting to look like a little shaky now. Oh, it looks like you might lose. Oh, it looks like you might lose. Now it's really starting to look like we might lose. Now we need a hit in this last inning or a run in this last inning, and all of a sudden we lose. I mean, that's terrible. That team total just stuck on 4 like that. But anyway, enough of that. What have we got today for best bet?
Was going to go late night, but I like this one. You're all on it on team totals, but I'm just going to stick to it like I talked earlier. The White Sox Rays, just over 8.5. Like you said, I like their team totals by both teams, but just give me the over 8.5. Giolito on the road, I don't love, and I think Waka gets hit.
All right, Chicago, Tampa Bay, White Sox Rays over 8.5. Best bet for Conor Mack. Real Deal Prime saying, stepping up to the plate here, saying best bet, CFL Calgary upset. You do realize they got a guy that's never played quarterback in the Canadian Football League starting, right? Never. In fact, he only started in FCS in the FCS ranks 2 years ago. I'm not trusting a guy like that in his first ever CFL start against a good Montreal team. But good luck. I mean, if you're taking a shot, take your shot. But it's not a good Calgary team, in my opinion, right now. But anyway, that's another story. My best bet for this Friday night card, we'll go with the let's see what we got here. Let's go with Washington, Milwaukee. I like that. I've been talking about that one a lot. There's a lot of home run props I like in that game. Corbin and Anderson. Anderson again against a Washington team that does it lefties. And Washington's one of those over machines right now. They have gone over the total a lot. Their bullpen's not very good. I need to get back to totals. A lot of the losses with best bets have been sides. I need to get back to the old bread and butter totals. Washington, Milwaukee, over 9 for me. Best bet for this Friday night MLB card. There were a couple others I came close to best bet. Braves run line was a little bit cheaper. I would have gone with that, but it's up to minus 150 now. So we'll go with the blanking on it now. Washington, Milwaukee, over 9 for my best bet. Yeah, Crystal Warren, thank you. Yesterday was a good start in the CFL. Edmonton Elks won outright. We took the points with Edmonton in that game, a team that's better than their 0-2 record, and they got it done. So good start in the CFL. They got 3 more games left in the CFL this weekend. And that'll wrap. And by the way, if you want my CFL thoughts, check it out. We did the show yesterday. Ian Cameron's Football Frenzy with Sandy Beveridge, former CFLer, was my guest. We went through all the CFL games this weekend, so check that out. And also check our college football betting preview videos out. Conor and I spent a lot of time doing them. Every major power conference. We did the group of 5 conferences. We did the independent teams as well. I will retweet those links probably early next week. I'm going to repost those links again. So everybody, that's the lead-in week to college football next week, and I'll retweet those. We'll get some more views toward those videos because we put in a lot of good work, gave you a lot of good information. So check out those college football conference betting previews with Connor Mack and I from earlier this week. They're already right there for your viewing pleasure on the Pub Sports Radio YouTube channel. That'll wrap up this edition of the MLB Closing Time Show. Thanks to everyone in the chat for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific on a Saturday morning to break down the MLB card. Connor Mack, me, and Sharpie, David Sharp, joining us as he always does for the weekend shows. Join us for that.
Love her.
BBW time, exactly. Connor Mack, thanks again. Great show. Good to work with you as always. For Connor Mack, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Friday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. We will talk to you tomorrow on Saturday for another edition of the MLB Closing Time Show right here on Pub Sports Radio.